to the webinar for today. So today we are going to do our session 6 in the series. So welcome. As usual, just introducing myself. So I think as you would know by now, I am a successful program manager, project manager, and also trainer. So I've started up a company called Fundamental Project Management because I wanted to share my experience together with companies as well as individuals. So I do have over 16 years of experience, both as a program manager, project manager. I did manage numerous large-scale deliveries, normally with quite complex IT components in both the financial services, telecommunications, and recently in the retail sector. Originally was working in South Africa, but I do some work now for UAE. And the journey of this career path has definitely given me invaluable experience, and also, has been something that I have quite enjoyed over the years. I am certified both a program management professional as well as project management professional. I do have also the Agile certifications from PMI, both the disciplined Agile as well as the senior Scrum Master. So I've gone through the certification journey quite a number of times with PMI now on the various certifications. And then I've also obtained the authorized training instructor badges for both the PMP as well as the CAPM from PMI. So I am able to train those courses, including Agile as well. Okay, so as we mentioned, this is our session 6. And in the session 6, we're going to cover what you need to study. Also, we'll go through some PMBOK based questions. Okay, so key takeaways. Normally we do a recap or refresher, so we'll do that for what we've covered in the previous session, which is session 5. We'll also take you through what you need to study. We've got some PMBOK based questions. Also in terms of the Agile, hybrid, predictive, agnostic QA approaches. There's also a business analysis QA approach, which is quite specific for the CAPM certification. We've got some sample exam-like questions. We'll discuss some frequently asked questions, and then as usual, give you a snippet of the upcoming session or the roadmap. Okay, so recapping our session 5. So in terms of the requirements, both certification, it does require significant time, also effort. So you do need to be prepared for the journey. Firstly, you do need to understand the format. So I think we've discussed now in a number of sessions that the CAPM exam, it does comprise of 160 questions, and you are allocated 230 minutes to complete the exam. On the other hand, we've got the PMP certification. It comprises of about 180 questions, and then you have 230 minutes allocated for that. In terms of the main materials and the books for the PMP exam, we've got the PMBOK 7th edition. In this book, you will see the principles, the practices, and the various project management techniques. But don't spend too much of time reviewing the book, as the exam does focus a lot more on the Agile, predictive, and the hybrid models. Okay, so the PMBOK guide covers all, sort of is more generic book. Then we've got the Agile practice guide. This will teach you the Agile practices. So you do need to spend time understanding and also studying the book. And then we've got the process groups practice guide. So this book will give you the information on the 49 predictive processes. So that's all about the predictive methodology. And you do need to spend time understanding and also studying the book. And then if we move on to the CAPM exam, we've got there again the PMBOK 7th edition, as mentioned. And then the other book, which is quite key, is the business analysis from PMI. Okay, the practice guide. So you do need to spend time again understanding and also studying this book. So what do you need to do to earn the credential? Firstly, you need to reach out to accomplished subject matter experts and also professionals in the project management realm. You can contact them on LinkedIn. They will be able to help you clarify any doubts that you have. You also do need to watch and read lessons learned and any success stories from existing CAPMs and PMPs. Because you will be able to learn from their journey. So it will be nice if you have some time to be able to do that. And then also choose the right trainer and mentor, which is very important. Make sure that the person, resonates with you. And then engage with the right study group for the exam prep. This is just from a motivation perspective to be able to have people that are on the similar journey with you. And then on the day of the exam, you do need to walk into the exam center with confidence, okay? Confidence in yourself and your ability to be able to pass the exam. So in terms of some suggestions for taking the test, you do need to use your time wisely. Try to answer the questions ahead of time. So always have a roadmap in terms of the number of questions you need to answer. Just say every 30 minutes and then track yourself based on that. Make sure that you are not running behind, okay? Read each question carefully and thoroughly, okay? Even if you think that the first choice is correct, please read through all of the answers because there could be an answer that is more correct than the first answer, okay? Then you need to confirm your answer. Also, I would suggest not spending too much of time on any one question. So if you're stumped, then just choose your best guess, mark it for later. You are able to do that on the screen so that you can go back to it later. And then you do have 4 hours to be able to complete the exam. So this means that you have roughly about 1.5 minutes per question. So you do have some questions that are shorter, and then you do have other questions that are quite lengthy. So, managing your time is quite important. And as we mentioned, if you don't know the answer, guess, review it later. And make sure that you have answered all the questions in the 4-hour time frame. Once you are done, you should go back and review all of the questions that you've marked, okay? And then if you have time, please go through also the answers that you haven't marked, just to make sure. Okay, then how to stay positive and pass your exam also in the first attempt. First one, definitely quite important. Everyone does need to study hard, prepare well. Before the exam day, please get enough rest. Don't go through all of your work at quite a difficult, stressful pace on that day. I would say that you should aim to complete all your preparation the day before. So, the rest then is quite important on the day before the exam. So you need to select a good mentor, preferably somebody who is associated with PMI. So you have your PMI ATPs, which is your authorized training partners. Okay, you can understand your strengths and weaknesses by taking different exams. So then you can work out your weak areas. You do need to maintain a good work study life balance. So that's actually quite important to be able to recharge yourself, okay? Understand the tasks from the ECO, because the exam is based on everything that the that the ECO states. So it's quite important to go through that. And your ECO is your exam content outline, which you can get from PMI. It's on the website actually. And then read the PMBOK 7th edition word by word, any key reference books. And you also need to build your exam strategy. So what that means is, understand how you're going to go through the exam, how many questions you need to answer in a specific time frame, how you're actually going to do that. And you can build that exam strategy by doing mock exams. Okay, so do a couple, 3 to 4 of the exams under exam-like conditions. So during this and how you fared and how you felt, you'll be able to then build your exam strategy. So then I would say, don't panic, keep focused, and then work hard. And on the exam day, stay calm and keep focused and read the questions carefully. Okay. And a very, very important note here is that you ensure that you take time to rest, exercise, eat healthy during the stressful time. Okay, remember that I always say that there's 2 ways you can approach something, either like a sprint, okay, or a marathon. The certifications from PMI, especially the bigger certifications, like the CAPM and the PMP, these are marathons, right? So you need to be able to take that time and recharge yourself, because you're going to be at it for a long period of time. Okay, then what you need to study for the CAPM exam. So what you see on the screen here is the exam reference list. So, you do need to read, so reading each book on the reference list is actually not a requirement of PMIs, but you will find it helpful to review it. The reference list here that you see is a courtesy, and PMI doesn't take any responsibility for the books that are not generated by the organization itself. So in terms of the accuracy of the information, but if you go through those books, it is beneficial to get an idea of all of the items that needs to be studied for the exam. The CAPM exam will continue to test the common practices, the fundamentals of project management, but it will expand to integrate the content across the predictive, business analysis, hybrid principles, all to ensure that professionals in the field know how to use the different project delivery approaches. Okay, so what you see on the screen will help you navigate then the multiple reference books, including the PMBOK guide. It's a tool to be able to focus your study time. So on this table, you'll find the name of the reference book, so you can see that. Next, you have the chapter, the section, or in some instances, it's the figure that you would need to go through. And then you'll also see where you see ECO task, it actually then has a mapping to the ECO document. Okay, so it's quite comprehensive, and it is a good way to be able to focus your energy, and then also to be able, you can actually tick then to say that, yes, you've covered everything that needs to be covered from an ECO perspective, because you know that the exam is based on the ECO. So the books that you would see here from a CAPM perspective is the PMBOK 7th edition, which we mentioned. We've got the Business Analysis for Practitioners, which is the practice guide. There's also some other books that's non-PMI, which is Effective Project Management, Traditional, Agile, Extreme, Hybrid. You've got the Agile Practice Guide, which is PMI. You've got the Project Management Answer Book, which is non-PMI, And then you've got the PMI Guide to Business Analysis. So those are the books that you will see referenced when you look at that. Then in terms of the domains for the CAPM exam, I think we've covered this in quite a lot of detail in one of the previous sessions. So we've got for 36% of the exam, you've got 5 tasks. And that's about the project management fundamentals and the core concepts. So that's about 36%. Then if you talk about the predictive or what is called plan-based methodologies, that makes up 17% of the exam. There's 3 tasks associated with that. Okay, and then there's the reference list that just continues here, right on the next page. And the CAPM exam moving forward also has Agile methodologies for 20%, which makes up 5 tasks. And then you also got your business analysis frameworks for 27%, okay, which is 6 tasks. So that's in totality all of the items that will be covered as part of the CAPM exam preparation. Okay. Then if we move forward to your PMBOK based questions and what to focus on. So this actually covers both for CAPM and the PMP exam. So you would notice that the questions are evenly distributed throughout all the chapters. Therefore, you need to pay attention to the entire PMBOK guide. So don't skip any concepts, because that's quite important. So you need to move to the next chapter only once you have a good command of the current one. Because a reminder again, both these exams, they do test your understanding of the content of the book. So that's quite important for you to be able to understand all of the content. Okay. So it will cover all your development approaches, which is your predictive, traditional, adaptive, hybrid. It has an entire section on tailoring the approach and the processes. It also features an expanded list of tools and techniques, including models, methods, artifacts. Okay, it also focuses on project outcomes in addition to all of the deliverables. So that's why that book is quite important. If we move on to the Agile Hybrid Q&A approach, the CAPM and PMP certification exam then requires you to understand the Agile approach, as we mentioned previously. So you have the standard Agile methodology. You do need to understand the tools and techniques of this approach, how to integrate your Agile approach properly into the project environment when it's beneficial. Also, you do need to understand the hybrid approach. So understanding the hybrid project life cycles, the question based on how to select an appropriate life cycle for a given situation. So understand the context as to when each of the approaches will be used. And then questions based on how would you integrate Agile and predictive cycle parts of a project. Okay. Then in terms of predictive agnostic approach, for the predictive approach, understanding then the traditional methodology, also the predictive life cycle versus the adaptive life cycle, and understanding when to use the predictive approach. There will also be agnostic questions. So things like, this is always on the exam. So questions like, what should the project manager do next? What should the project manager do first? How could the project manager prevent the situation from happening? So all of these things are quite important, and therefore you do need to understand the approaches, the processes, as well as, so the process is quite important to understand which is first, which is next, things like that. Then we also got business analysis, Q&A approach, and very specific to the CAPM exam, this section. So 27% of the questions from this topic, so it is very important. So you do need to demonstrate an understanding of business analysis. So the BA roles as well as the responsibilities, determine how to conduct stakeholder communication, determine how you're going to gather the requirements, demonstrating an understanding of the product roadmaps, determine how project methodologies will influence the business analysis processes, and then also validate requirements through product delivery. Okay. Then going through some sample exam-like questions. Okay, so first question. What is the primary goal of a kickoff meeting? Okay, so is it A, to showcase the work done in the last iteration? B, to set expectations and establish a shared understanding at the start of a project or phase? To review and decide on the proposed changes? Or D, to discuss and prioritize the backlog? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to be able to answer. So I'll give you, about 10 seconds. Okay, so that's the answer. So it's to set expectations and establish a shared understanding at the start of the project or the phase. So generally, you do need to set expectations and establish a shared understanding at the start of a project or phase. It's quite important. It is a primary goal of the kickoff meeting. So the kickoff meeting is held at the beginning of the project, and it's used to bring the project team members and also the key stakeholders to bring together, okay, all stakeholders. So what happens in the meeting is that the project manager will present the project objectives, the scope, the deliverables. There's normally also some key risks that maybe needs to be addressed during delivery. And then that ensures that all the participants have a clear understanding of the project goals and also all of the expectations, and that everyone is aligned to that. So in Agile project management, on what basis are the requirements or backlog items typically prioritized? Is it A, based on business value, B, based on the date of submission, C, based on the alphabetical order of the items, or D, based on the complexity of the implementation? So you're welcome. Give you 10 seconds again, and you're welcome to put in your answers. Answer is A, based on business value. So in Agile, the prioritization of the requirements or the backlog items is based normally on several factors. Business value is one of them. There could also be things like dependencies between the different items. Also, if there's any technical or operational risks associated with implementing. The goal then will be to maximize the value of the project deliverable by focusing on the most valuable and critical items first. So that's normally how Agile works. That's something as part of the methodology. So the prioritization of the work is normally done by the product owner. Okay, this person will guide and clarify the direction of the project or the product outcome, set the direction for the next increment, and then the next increment to be developed in the sprint. Okay, so therefore definitely very important based on business value there. Okay, so next question. A project manager notices that some items in the product backlog are vague and lack details. Which meeting would be most appropriate to address these issues? So is it a bidder conference? Is it B, a daily stand-up? C, the backlog refinement, or D, kickoff? Okay, so there is definitely backlog refinement. Okay, so in the backlog refinement, it's most appropriate to address the issue of vague and lacking details in the product backlog items. Okay, so during the meeting, the project team and the product owner will come together to review and discuss the backlog items. So they will work on progressively elaborating and adding details to the items, clarifying the requirements, acceptance criteria. And then once it is, meets the definition of ready, then that means that that item will be able to be pulled into the next iteration. Okay, so what is the primary purpose of an iteration review? Is it A, to determine and prioritize the backlog, to discuss and evaluate procurement needs, to review and decide on changes, or to showcase the work completed during the iteration? Okay. So answer is to showcase the work completed during the iteration. So in the iteration review, you'll showcase the work that has been completed during the iteration. It's normally held at the end of an iteration or the sprint because it provides the opportunity for the project team to demonstrate the deliverables that they've completed and also seek the feedback for it and to check that it meets the definition of done of the product owner. Okay. And then based on that, then several things can be done with that story. Okay, so next question. Which of the following processes is focused on reviewing requirements for errors and quality, either before or after validation to ensure that only good requirements are verified? So is it A, verify requirements, B, peer reviews, C, control quality, or D, validate scope? Okay, answer verify requirements. So in verify requirements, you're going to be checking your requirements for any errors and quality. Okay. So this occurs either before or after the validation step. And the goal here to verify requirements is to ensure that only the requirements or the good requirements, we can say, are verified regardless of whether they have been validated or confirmed by any of the stakeholders. So a textile development project needs a specialized resource to work for 900 hours. The company has decided to outsource these hours because of internal policies. All potential service providers must be given the same information about the requirements. Which action should the project manager take to ensure this? Okay, A is hold direct negotiations with each service provider. Is it B, conduct a bidder conference with the service providers? Is it C, ensure the procurement management plan is sent to each service provider? D, add each of the service providers to the stakeholder register. So the answer is to conduct the bidder conference. So you'd normally see in the procurement processes, it will talk about a bidder conference. This is a meeting between the buyer and the prospective service providers. So it happens prior to any proposal that's going to be submitted. And you have one conference with all prospective bidders so that you have clear and common understanding of what is required as well as all of the requirements that you have. Okay, and the key component here for the bidder conference is to make sure and maintain their no preferential treatment. Okay, so just based on the value of the proposals that's submitted. So therefore you share information to everyone, all information is shared to all bidders. Okay, so next question. Company P's IT transformation project has 3 deliverables, and they have the following characteristics according to the project team. Deliverable 2 has strictly scheduled milestones and no expected variation in the timeline. Requirements for deliverables 1 and 3 will change quickly during development. Which project lifecycle should the project manager use for this project? Is it A, select a fully agile project model with a common user story and 3-week sprints? B, select a waterfall project model for deliverables with firm milestones and change control procedures? Or C, select a hybrid project model. Position deliverable 2 as a single agile sprint embedded in an overall waterfall project. Or D, select a hybrid project model. Position deliverable 2 as a single waterfall phase embedded in the overall agile project. The answer here is that you are going to select your hybrid project model. You will position your deliverable 2 as a single waterfall phase embedded in the overall agile project. Okay, so the reason for that. Okay, so if you see here, right, you've got 3 deliverables. When you say deliverable 2 has a strictly scheduled milestones with no expected variation in the timeline, this means that you have a fairly bedded down requirement set because you know exactly what you need to do, because it states there's no variation in the timeline. You do have the scheduled milestone. So this means that you're quite confident about deliverable 2, right? So this generally then would say that it's more predictive, so more waterfall. Then if you look, you say requirements for deliverables 1 and 3 will change quickly during development. This here actually says that your requirements then are not really bedded down, and they will change during development, because this means that it probably will change based on the feedback that you are going to get from the stakeholders. And this means that it will follow more an agile, okay, approach. So you've got your deliverable 2, which is sort of waterfall, and then you've got 1 and 3, which is agile. So the first one, you can't run a fully agile project because you've got the strictly scheduled milestones. You can't do a fully waterfall project model for the deliverables because you know already that your requirements are going to change quite quickly during development. So you will be inundated with admin on that one. Then you do know that it's more likely that you'd want to do a hybrid project model. And we know here that your deliverable 2 is waterfall and the rest is agile, right? So therefore, you know here that you can run deliverable 2 as a single waterfall phase, and the overall project then is agile because you know 1 and 3 is agile. Okay, here this is incorrect because deliverable 2 cannot actually run as a single agile sprint. So that's how you unpack that to get to that answer. Okay. Then next question, we've got an innovative product fails to satisfy target consumers despite significant investments in quality control and marketing campaigns. Which agile practice would best prevent future failures of this nature? A, run continuous consumer usability testing on your product releases. B, align objectives between the product owner and marketing. C, broaden the persona type definition of the target consumer. Or D, add more features and test to the minimum viable product. So we're going to run continuous consumer usability testing on the product releases. Okay, so here, what this question is saying is that whatever you've got is actually not satisfying the target consumers, right? This means that you do need to gather feedback from your consumers directly. Okay, so it's the most effective way to be able to align the requirements to the user needs. Okay, and then you can then integrate them incrementally into your product releases based on business value. Okay, and therefore A is the most correct answers. Okay, if you're going to align objectives between the product owner and the marketing team, that's not really going to help because it's not really getting feedback from the consumer. Broaden the persona type is not really going to help either. Okay, and then adding more features is definitely not going to help because that's not really the issue there. So next question. A project team collected sensitive client data during the early stages of a project to help develop the project management plan. The team is now working on deliverables for the project when a compliance manager discovers a data breach and alerts the team to a compliance issue. Which document should the project manager review first? Is it A, the statement of work? Is it B, the issue log? Is it C, the business case? Or is it D, the risk register? Okay, so I think this one is quite straightforward. So definitely the issue log. Once the compliance issue has been raised, then the issue log should be reviewed. It should be updated, okay, prior to taking any action. So this is the question where we said, what should the project manager review first? Okay, so very important to understand all of the processes. The team working on project A has resolved a technical issue, and the project is moving forward. The project manager has been warned that the same issue will probably arise on similar projects in the future. What should the project manager do first when responding to this warning? Is it A, ensure that the issue log is updated and update the lessons learned register, create a risk report and keep the report current, notify the project sponsor about the warning, or ensure that the lessons learned register is updated? Okay, so answer A. So you do want to ensure that the issue log is updated because there is, because you're saying that you resolved a technical issue, then you do need to ensure that the issue log is updated. And then because of the similar projects in the future, you do want to update the lessons learned register. So therefore it's both, and it's two. things that you want to do there. So moving on to our next section, which is our frequently asked questions section. We've got first up is, what are the ethical considerations of using AI in project management? Okay. I think AI is a hot topic currently for many organizations and people. So AI is also reshaping the project management industry. But while doing that, there are ethical considerations that are crucial. Okay. AI has the potential to automate tasks. It can also provide a lot of insights and optimize workflows. However, ethical concerns have to be addressed as AI becomes more prevalent in the workspace. So if you think about it, the first one where we've got the biased algorithms, when using algorithms, ensure that you have a diverse, unbiased training data. Okay, as project leaders, we must proactively ensure that the AI is trained on high quality, unbiased data sets. Ensure that there is validation and independent auditing processes, which are essential to avoid any biases. So the reason why you want to do this is that you don't get a skewed picture of the insights, right? So therefore, you want to make sure that the underlying data that you provide is unbiased, okay, as well as the algorithms that is then being used to provide those insights. Then you've got responsibility and accountability. So leaders must retain the clear responsibility for the decisions and outcomes that is also involving AI. So human judgment should always complement AI, and the roles, requirements, and the risks then associated with it must also be explicitly defined. So ultimately, the responsibility and the accountability for AI rests with leaders. Then also employee privacy. When using AI, maintain the transparency in AI tracking. Transparency and employee engagement are essential to safeguard privacy and ensure that AI empowers rather than controls the team. Okay. You also got your ethical AI design. So engage a diverse stakeholder base for balanced outcomes. Leaders should assemble the diverse teams and also consider broader social impacts to ensure ethical AI adoption. Okay, so just having a broader view when doing the design. Then we've got human AI synergy. So that's about AI should enhance and not replace your human roles. Okay. So AI should elevate human potential and be introduced gradually and deliberately to foster a symbiotic relationship with technology. So I know there's a lot of buzz in the industry about what roles AI will be replacing, but I think, the key is to use AI as a tool rather than follow that route. And then we've got avoid over-reliance. So always question your AI recommendations. Okay, so the recommendation should be viewed as informative inputs, but ultimately it is human discretion that makes the final decision. Okay, and that decision then based on ethics and also the context is quite important. Also rigorous testing. So you need continuously to monitor and update the AI that is being used. So regular testing, auditing are also crucial to catch any errors, any biases, and harms early and ensure that AI remains aligned with the ethics and the reason why you have, started that process. So basically just make sure that how you've designed this is with regard to currently what's happening, because things change, marketplaces change. Okay, then transparent communication. You also need to keep AI's goals and limits clear. So that you're going to do by transparency and clear communication so that you build trust and understanding amongst the teams. regarding the AI's capabilities and also the boundaries that is put in place. So naturally, out of this process and the usage of AI, there will be some disruptions, okay? However, those will be known ahead of time, and there would need to be a strategy put in place to be able to support any displaced workers, because what you would like or would do in that instance is actually make sure that any displaced workers receive the necessary training and then will be able to move into other positions. And then also use AI for good. So AI can be used for good if you prioritize the societal benefits over profits. It's quite a hard ask in most times. All businesses, they do run on profits, but I do think that you can steer AI efforts towards the applications for benefits in society. You can also consider your long-term impacts on humanity while making any decisions from a company perspective. Responsible AI adoption in project management, it does require continuous focus on the ethics, the human dignity, and also the greater good. So you can have customized policies and practices reflecting the culture and the community context. Ethics should be integrated into the entire AI lifecycle, from planning to design to training to monitoring. Okay, that's the way that it will be able to work in harmony. Okay, then the next question is project management truly for you? Okay. So project management project management, it does come with a lot of praise, as the engine that normally drives companies, also brings innovation into the market, is normally the projects that stems from companies, so successful initiatives. But before deciding if that is the true calling, okay, let's navigate some of the nuances of the role, taking into account the real world examples to help you then make a more informed decision and choice. So as part of the role, there is constant change. Okay, every day is different, normally is a new adventure. So for instance, if we're talking about a software project manager and you're overseeing the development of a mobile app, okay, so that's the project. One day your user could give you feedback that would make you or make a need for a sudden pivot in the app's features. Okay, so that's going to happen quite suddenly. It's going to have a fair amount of pressure. You do need to understand what this means for the project. So if you is someone that savors such flexibility and adaptability, then the role will definitely suit you. So just understand that, there is constant change. You do need to be able to handle that, okay? And to be able to lead and drive the team through that change. Okay, so people over tasks. Project management, as we know, yes, traditional types of project did come with the long list of tasks that you need to manage, but it's definitely more about, it's definitely not a tick box exercise, project management. So the major thing that you will do on a daily basis as a project manager, you will inspire and guide people to be able to reach the goals that is needed for the project. So that is what generally happens on a daily basis. So if you imagine you managing a construction project, your success depends on keeping the diverse teams on architects, engineers, and contractors motivated and aligned. So that's what you would need to do. If nurturing the vital relationships excites you, then definitely you're on the right track. Okay, because you will need to be able to manage and inspire a diverse team, okay, with different skill sets. Then it's quite a volatile environment. So projects often come with tight schedules and budgets. Also, because it's a project, it's quite risky in nature because it's the first time most organizations will be, embarking on certain initiatives. So there is, tight schedules, also a lot of money associated with that for the company. So if you picture leading a marketing campaign for a product launch, and the product launch has a fixed date, that means that you do need to be able to make that date. So pressure is your daily companion. Okay, if you thrive under such circumstances, then the role could be your forte. Okay, this means that you would know that every day when you come into the office, you're going to be under the clock. And if you're happy with that, then, that definitely then the role is for you. Also, decision making on the fly. So swift decisions are the project manager's currency. So let's say you're managing a film production. Okay, unexpected weather changes may require rapid adjustments in shooting locations. If you excel at quick and informed decision making, then you're also on the right path. Okay. And then also end-to-end ownership. As the project manager, you're the captain of the ship. So you think of yourself as a startup founder launching a new product. You're accountable for its success from the inception to market. Okay. So if you relish then the end-to-end responsibility, the role can definitely be quite fulfilling. It's something that has driven me in my career. Okay, so diverse skill sets are also required. So project management is definitely a multidisciplinary field. So if you're organizing a large-scale event, it's not just about the logistics, but you also do the budgeting, the coordinating with the vendors, the managing of stakeholders. Okay, so you do get to wear different hats, okay, depending on the context, depending on the situation, and depending on who you're communicating with. So if you're comfortable with different hats, then you're in the right arena. Okay. So in a nutshell, project management is a role, it's filled with twists and turns, and its fit depends on the fondness for dynamic challenges. Okay, the professional world, it does offer a spectrum of opportunities, each catering for distinct talents. So whether you decide to embark on the project management journey or explore other avenues, the key is to find your niche and pursue it with dedication. Okay. Project management has definitely been something that I have loved in my career, just for the fact that it's different on a daily basis. Okay, so moving on to session 7, we're going to cover the exam preparation and also any practice questions. Okay, so just a snippet of the section we'll do a recap and refresher of the first 6 sessions, so that will be quite nice. We've got the CAPM and PMP exam. We'll talk about the formulas. We'll do practice questions for each of the exam certifications, also frequently asked questions like what we've done now, and then also share the upcoming session roadmap. Then in terms of the upcoming sessions, that's the time zones, and then we've got 2 sessions left. So you're welcome to diarize those. And then also, if you'd like to contact me, then you're welcome to do so on these channels. Okay. Okay. So thank you for joining the webinar for today. If there's anything, as I've mentioned, you're always welcome to contact me. WhatsApp is best for me. Yeah. Thank you, and see you for the next one.